Well, having a first look at another Victrola 50 here. This was 1922, number 69,116. Just as it comes, this came out of a flea market. It's oak, and other than being filthy, as you can see, look, that's some ingrained dirt there, but that'll come out. The veneer is all very well, solid boards for these, but the top and the bottom, the veneer is all good, but we do have some issues. One of them obviously is dirt. Now, a lot of times what you find with these is damage to the lid stay. See how bent that is? That will have to be reshaped and made proper again, because one thing is very important on the Victrola 50 is the lid stay. If that doesn't hold and this lid flops back, you could end up with serious damage. Not that. That damage right there is caused by that lid stay digging into it when it's not, you know, being properly stowed. But some machines, especially the early ones, you could split that whole back panel right across. Now, I see we have some interesting choices for screws. Okay, we'll take care of that. Those are not correct, but I have correct screws. I can see we have some wood damage there to fix. We have probably some screw holes that are enlarged, gonna have to be closed up. But look at the mess that we have in here. See all that? And what's really something to see, that you don't like to see, is this. That is a governor weight off of the motor. Yeah, we had a little problem there apparently. I don't know what else we have. We have some nails in there. Oh, we have some fiber needles in there. And we got all kinds of steel needles. I mean, these people, whoever they were incredibly sloppy with needles. They were just tossing used needles right into the horn opening. Don't do that. Now, the one thing I did notice about this, do you notice anything about this weight? There's no screw. There's no broken screw. No bit of spring still left on there. That means this unscrewed somehow and simply came loose. Let's have a look at the motor. The motor board is the sticker. It says 1922 on it. These are always within a few months of actual production. Let's see what we got on here. We have a number 2 reproducer that's in need of a full rebuild. That diaphragm has had it. Big time had it. Look at that thing. Let's see if I can zoom in on that. That is destroyed. Okay, not a big deal. I keep them in stock, plenty of them. That'll get rebuilt. This should have likely had an exhibition anyway, but many of them were upgraded to number 2s. Dealers push them hard. It works fine with either one. Motorboard looks good, except we got all kinds of pet hair or maybe rat hair on there. Not really sure. All kinds of sprinkles and dirt and just general filth. This has been stored somewhere a very, very long time. Let's see, let's pull that back. Don't want to spill everything all over the place. Excuse the camera work. I know it sucks, but I'm working on it. Here we go. Okay. See the governor? The governor is missing the screws. The spring is still intact. And the screws do not appear to be broken off. So that tells me very likely, and you notice we have a blued spring there, and the other ones are straw colored. Okay, what I think happened here is somebody did a repair and didn't do it correctly. They didn't tighten the screws properly. You have to be very careful tightening screws on these governors. You can snap screws off very easily. They're tiny screws. In the brass body, you can snap a screw off very easily in this. But what happened here is somebody only replaced one spring but not the other two. When you break a spring on the governor, replace all 3. So all 3 have the same amount of tension in them. Don't try to get away with just leaving one out or anything like that. You know, that's not good. And this spring is actually still under tension. I could feel it. So I'll have to very gently take that off tension using the pawl right there. I'll manage that later. But let's see what we got. The friction leather looks crummy, but okay. It's still thick enough. Don't have excessive. We have an extra tight. Yeah, there's not a whole lot of wiggle in that governor, and there should be. So somebody had that apart and just didn't do it right. So now I have to go in there and figure it out, clean it up. Not a big deal. Not like I haven't done 100 of these motors already, so I know how to deal with them. Gears look okay. I don't see anything really stripped out too bad. You see this has the abbreviated metal horn, not the full metal horn of the early models. They reinforced that back panel because of constant cracking issues. And that's why the early ones have a full metal horn, while the later ones after, say, early 1921, they have the wooden panel back there, which adds a great deal of strength to that back panel. I have still seen them break, but it takes real talent to break one of these in the back. You really got to work at it, like sit on it or something like that. You can see all the goop in there. It's got to be clean. That's all part of servicing one of these when you find them. This is how you want to find them. You want to find them like this because that tells you that, okay, yeah, somebody did mess with that spring, but it was probably 60, 70 years ago when they did it. This is an untouched. It's nobody slapped 5 layers of polyethylene on there. Nobody's been scrubbing off the original patina. Everything is original on this. That'll lighten up some when I clean it and get all the fungus and the ground in cigarette smoke and whatever else is there. That'll come out. It'll lighten up a little bit. Yeah, it'll come to look slightly better, but it looks to me, just judging by how it looks under the lid, how dark it looks under there, and the motorboard where it was protected by the turntable, I believe this is fumed oak. This is not a golden oak machine. I believe this is fumed oak. Don't see as many of them. So it's only going to lighten up to a certain extent. It's not really going to blow up like a yellow like the, well, like the golden oak will. Single spring motor, of course. Looks like nobody serviced that spring in 1,000 years. It's got that heavy black built-on grease you see. That's black graphite grease that they used in the old days. It still has the double nuts on here. I don't know how many times I found these missing because somebody was too lazy to put them back on. You know, this one has that. They're a little, this one's loose over here, I see, but that's typical. They loosen up with time. The felt washers are still in there, I think. They're squished, but they're there. Yeah, they're there. Yep, there they are. I see. Well, I'm looking in the wrong place, aren't I? Yeah, that's got the felt washer. You know, there's some rust issues on some of the metal parts, but that'll clean up. That's what evaporust is for. Takes the rust right off gently while leaving the nickel plating behind. Okay, the cabinet corners look pretty good. It's got all of them. When we close the lid, you can see the top of it. Let's slip that back in there so it doesn't do any more damage. Top of the lid is pretty good. We got some stains, but that all comes out. That'll all come out. And spin it around so we can see the back. Here, needles rattling around in there. You see the back has no cracks. That's what you want to see. You don't want to see a big old split right here. And then you're looking at major cabinet work and total refinishing when you're done. And you know, that's just not what I like. I like original machines like this. I like them to look as they did as much as possible back in the day in 1920 or whatever. You know, proper aging, patina as they call it today. You see the bottom of this machine is surprisingly clean. But then again, a lot of these 50s were not used as Victor intended. Victor intended them to be a picnic machine. A lot of people decided they sounded so good they'll use them for a house machine instead. That kind of backfired. Not that, you know, these were cheap. In today's money, these machines cost something like $650 or more, probably more. There's been some inflation since I last checked. You know, in today's dollars, that's what these cost in 1921 to 1924, 5. And people decided, hey, this is a good sounding machine. It does sound good. It's a nice loud sound, good tone in this, and because of that big horn in there, they decided, hey, let's use this. This is a house machine. A whole cottage industry sprung up of manufacturers offering all kinds of slip-in or step-on or stack-on cabinets that you could use for this machine, or you could just put it on a table, use it that way, or just take it out of the closet and play it when you wanted to play it. Victor wasn't too happy with that. So for the Victor Victrola 35, they very carefully went to a smaller machine. You know, something really more adequate for a picnic than these are. Look how, you know, a fine finished wood machine dragged through the woods, tossed in the back of a car. I mean, that's not ideal. Yeah, this looks too nice for that, and it was way too expensive for that. The public that bought these decided they weren't going to ruin them. So a lot of times I do find these machines with nice bottom panels. They weren't set on the ground, stacked on stones or anything like that. And this one obviously was probably put away before World War II even started. Judging by all that, I mean, look at this. Look at this. Look. Yeah, it's like a whole rat. But that's good. You know, that's how I like to find them. Nobody's been messing with it. No sandpaper has touched this finish. You know, everything else I could fix. Mechanical stuff, that's not a problem. It's all fixable. The rust issues, the reproducer, that's all easy stuff. You know, that can all be taken care of. Stuff like this oddball screw on here, which shouldn't be there. That's the wrong kind of washer. Obviously, that probably came loose and they didn't know how to fix it properly. So they put larger screws in and added that little lock washer there, or whatever that is. You know, I'll take care of that. But there you go. There's a look at how a lot of these machines look when you first get them off of eBay, you know, or something like that, where they haven't been touched or messed with in lifetimes. And that's what you want to see. This is what you should strive for, unless you don't want to work on them, in which case, get one like how they are when I'm finished with them. And they're all done for you. All you got to do is play them. But if you like working on machines, you want one like this, cobwebs and all. Look how nicely that still closes. It's perfectly lined up and even. Hasn't been dropped. So let's check out this side. This side will get a lot of scratches and dents too, because the handle's on the other side, so of course it's carried like a suitcase and it's placed down on this end. But as you can see, it's very clean. So another clue that tells me this was an inside used machine. This sat on a coffee table somewhere or whatever, and was played in someone's house or apartment or what have you. Victrola 50. These things never get old for me because, well, because my first machine was, my first Victrola was a Victrola 50. I still have it, I still play it. It still plays perfectly. It's been now through 2 service cycles. Yeah, from first one time when I got it, now I do it again because, well, you know, 20 some odd years went past and it was time to do it again. So about a year ago I took it out and serviced it all over again. Took it all apart and cleaned it all up. Any dust bunnies that accumulated in it, took care of them. Only mine didn't have 1,000 needles inside the case, so I'll get a magnet in a minute and suck all those up. Maybe I'll find the missing screws for the governor. You never know. Sometimes you get lucky. If not, I got a whole bucket full of governors in there I could just take more screws out of. There you go. There's a look at the Victrola 50, 69,116. I've had quite a few 1922s in the 69,000 serial number range. So sooner or later, I'm going to end up with consecutives, you know. So that's going to be interesting. Maybe I'll use them in stereo. Same record, 2 different machines, put it on there. Well, two of the same record on 2 of the same machines, 1 serial number apart. And then we'll have Victrola stereo. But there you go.